Hey there, it's Justin Kaplan with Southern Utah Child Custody and Abuse Law. Just going to do a walkthrough of how to fill out a child protective order using OCAP, the Online Court Assistance Program right here. Um, you can watch this, shows a general walkthrough of using OCAP, and so that's a helpful resource right there. But I specifically wanted to walk through doing a child protective order. So you're going to log in right here. If you haven't created an account, you can create an account. I made a short video that walks through that. You're going to log in with your username and password. Then it's going to take you to this page right here, lots of blue. And you see there's a whole bunch of things right here. So there's protective order ones right here, civil stalking, adult protective order, child protective order, dating violence protective order. So we're going to click on protective order child. This is going to generate a questionnaire that then will populate. So you've got some introduction, some kind of explanation of what you're doing here. Just save and continue. One suggestion, and this is when I first used it, well, this gets to the end, but when you're ready to generate it, and you can do this at any time, even if it's not done, you can click View Documents, and it doesn't mean that it's like ends it. Like you can always go back and edit. So you can review and edit. Anyway, username. What was my username? Justin. No fees. Have you filed a report? So of course, when dealing with a child protective order, it's important that and required that you file a report of abuse with DCFS. So make sure that you call and report that. I'm going to put yes. And as a reminder, a child protective order, I'm going to bring this other window over here. So it's if there's abuse or danger of abuse. Oh, I should have pulled up the definitions one, but the definition of abuse for purposes of child protective orders, here we go. Abuse means physical abuse, sexual offenses described in the sexual exploitation statute or human trafficking. So typically the most common are either physical abuse or sexual abuse. So if it's not that, then it doesn't apply for a protective order. Again, make your report. So yes, save and continue, and it will just take you down. So now you can see over here, except my little timer's kind of blocking that way, but it kind of tells you what you're doing. You can kind of jump through, I think, maybe not, no need to anyway. So we're going to just call this John, no, we're going to call this Jane Doe. I don't know why it matters what gender. We're going to call it John Doe, male. So petitioner, that's you filling it out, or if you're helping somebody fill it out, it's the name of the person who's petitioning, asking for the child protective order. Respondent obviously is the person either that committed the abuse, or sometimes in the case of, say there's a child within a home that that has caused abuse or is abusing another child, you can technically file it against the parent of that child that's in the household, but typically it's the person who's being accused of the abuse. So relationship, I'm going to say this is former spouse, save and continue. What county? Washington. You would keep your street address private. So that means private from the other person. Does the other person already know your address? If they already know it, then put no. Just, 123 Main, St. George, Utah, 84770. Again, phone number. If they already have your phone number, if this is somebody that you know that knows you, then likely. But if it's against somebody else, you might want to keep that stuff private. So I'm just going to put no. We're going to put 435-555-5555. Okay, best time to reach you at home, evenings. If you put yes, then you can fill out your work information, where to contact you. Again, that's your information. I'm just going to put no to keep it simple. Use a nickname. I'm just going to say no. Date of birth. This isn't really my birthday. December 1st, 1989. Okay, the child's information. So we're going to say this is Johnny. Doe. So Jane Doe is Johnny's mother. Again, this is me. This is child. John Doe is Johnny's father. Little Johnny, we're saying, is 6 years old. So 12/1 of, what would that be, 2018 right now? 2017 maybe. Okay, name of person who currently resides with, Jane Doe. Weekends with John Doe. So you can kind of put a little bit of, not like narrative, but you can kind of, it doesn't have to be just one thing there, and it populates it. Address, again, 123 Main Street, St. George, Utah, 84770. And a lot of people, when I've seen fill these out, then they're putting like lowercase on everything. Please take the extra half a second to just use the shift button. It just looks neater. It's not that a judge is going to necessarily care, but it looks more professional if you're capitalizing where it needs to be capitalized. And so make sure you do that. Name and dates of people child lived with during the last 6 months if different from above. I'm just going to put NA. It's the same. Address people child has lived during if different from the address. I'm just going to put NA. You don't even have to put that. You can just leave it blank. That's fine. Is there another child that needs to be protected? So if there's siblings that need to be protected as well, then you go ahead and put them, and it's going to have their information. Look, you can go back. I'm just going to put no. We're not going to worry about that. Okay. Date abuse or danger of abuse occurred. So for purposes of this example, I'm going to say that just this past weekend, so let's say today's Monday, because it's a Monday I'm recording this, and last night, 7 p.m. return time from parent time with John, and so I don't know exactly when this happened, but I noticed it yesterday. I'm just going to put, so I'm going to guess it was Friday, but if you know the date, of course, put the date. If it's like, hey, well, he came home to me and he was there for a few days and there was bruising that looked a couple days old, I'm just going to guess. Well, today's February 12th, so I'm going to put 2/9/2024. City or place. Let's say John lives in Washington City, Utah. Abuse. I believe the children are being or are in an imminent danger of being abused. Yes. Now, if the abuse is suspected of somebody who is not the parent, step-parent, guardian, or custodian, so it's grandparent, if you're filing this against, a 16-year-old because he did something to another child, then you'll do this one if it's not a parent, step-parent, guardian, custodian. Most child protective orders being filed on this first one, which would be applicable to if it's a parent, step-parent, guardian, or custodian. And so that's, if you look at the statute, this is an update a couple years ago. You can see on one of my other videos. But the child is in imminent danger of being abused. Is being abused or imminent danger of being abused. You can file it against parent, step-parent, etc. They added this part that if it's past abuse, even if it hasn't, it's not current abuse or imminent danger, if it's just happened in the past, you can file it against anybody who's not one of these right here. Okay, so then describe what happened. So Johnny returned from parent time last night, and when I was bathing him, I noticed several linear bruises and red marks on his back. He was hurting when I washed him, and I asked what happened. Now I'm getting into dangerous territory. When you're questioning your children and that sort of thing, that can be, you can take that the wrong direction real quick with asking leading questions and things like that. So I'm not advising questioning your child, especially when you start asking, well, did dad do this or did dad do that? Or, if you're starting to kind of put those things, a child is very, responsive to what you're saying. And so you don't want to put something into their mouth or into their head, or get them just to agree with something by asking leading questions. But I see all these marks. I'm going to ask like, well, what happened? And he's hurting. He said that his dad, John Doe, whipped him or hit him or whatever the child really says, with a belt several times because he, I don't know, got toothpaste on the sink. So, I mean, you see the evidence of the bruising, and it's not normal, typical bruising, and so you think, hey, this looks like abuse. Child has explained and confided in you of something that indicates that that's abuse, that corroborates that. And you can, well, I guess that's what happened. I'm not going to. You can go into a little bit more detail depending on how much detail there is to put. Don't exaggerate. Don't add stuff that didn't actually happen or whatnot. But describe in detail what happened. Give enough for a judge to see. Pause this. Sorry, I just took a call. So yeah, put in enough detail of what happened. Don't leave anything out. And I guess through this video I'm not advising you. I'm just kind of walking you through. So maybe I shouldn't get into more detail. Talk with an attorney about your specific circumstances. It's impossible for me to say something that would be 100% generally applicable if I'm getting too much into the specifics. But fill this out, put the details, talk with an attorney who does child protective orders, and so not just your general attorney, and then and have them read through it before you file it. Or there's victims advocates, specifically at the CJC, the Children's Justice Center. I don't know how much they walk you through, but they're certainly helpful, at least in pointing you in how to do that, and in how to fill this out and things to consider. So have somebody look it over, somebody who knows what they're doing, somebody who has experience with child protective orders, to make sure that you're putting enough detail. And again, use punctuation, use capital letters and stuff. I'm surprised every time. It's so often that it's just all lowercase, no punctuation. It's like, come on, you're an adult. Show the judge that you are. I don't mean to be rude, but it's something that needs to happen. Anyway, so put the detail in there. At the end, have somebody review it. Save and continue. Are there other court cases of any type involving Jane Doe, John Doe, or anyone else you've named? Don't lie about this, or don't hide it from the judge. The judge can see these things. The clerk specifically looks and runs a search of both names. So make sure you put everything, at least everything that's somewhat relevant. So we're going to put yes, the party who filed the case, Jane Doe, Washington County, case number, whatever. So look up the case number. If you don't know, I think you can leave it blank. But put that. This is our divorce case. Date of final order. It was last August 12th of 2023. So look that up. Click here to enter information for another court case. In full disclosure, John Doe filed in Washington County. Case number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. How about 0? An adult protective order, and that was final, I don't know, last June. Again, you don't want to hide something, even if you think, well, I don't want the judge to know that I had a case filed against me. Well, it is what it is. Better to be honest and open with that here than to have that come up at the hearing when the other attorney representing the respondent calls into question, well, how can we believe what this person's saying? They lied about, they didn't disclose the protective order that was against them. They didn't disclose that we have a divorce case that gives me custody, or something like that. So just make sure you do that. Has Jane Doe filed any other protective orders in any court of Utah? I'm going to put no. I mean, if you put yes, then it has other protective order information, and you fill that out. So maybe I'll put yes just for that reason. Respondent. So I also filed one against him at the same time. Anyway, be consistent and put other cases, other protective orders. Washington County. Has the judge signed this other protective order? Yes. Is this other protective order still in effect? No, because we went to mediation. We worked out to dismiss it. Okay. And then if there's other protective order, that sort of thing. Okay. So I'm going to put, I'm not going to add another one. All right. So here we go. Relief that you are asking for. So you see there's a whole bunch. There's 19 paragraphs here. Stop John Doe from causing further abuse. Stop, restrain John Doe from attempting, threatening, or committing abuse against the children. Stop, restrain John Doe from stalking, harassing, or threatening, or using. So you're going to put yes. I mean, if you don't put yes on this, then what's the point of filing a protective order? Even though you shouldn't need an order that says stop abusing the kids, that should just be you shouldn't abuse the kids, but that's the purpose of a child protective order. So yes, stop John Doe from contacting children, from directly or indirectly contacting, harassing, telephoning, emailing, or otherwise communicating with the children. This one is a balancing act, and talk with an attorney on what is advisable in your particular circumstances. There can be circumstances where even that phone contact or something could be very detrimental and harmful, or it could be that it's not, that we just need to get some protection. We need to get a temporary, involvement, interference here because something's happened, but maybe John Doe's not bad guy, and he had who knows what happened, and so maybe the phone calls won't be a bad idea or a terrible thing. So talk to a lawyer about this. I'm going to put yes. Order that. Order John Doe to stay away from the children's residence. Order John Doe to vacate and stay away from the current residence of the children. So that is one of those weird things. So we are separate, so I don't really need to order him to vacate the premises, but need him to stay away from. We want him to stay away from my residence, 123 Main Street, St. George, Utah. Look at that. Not follow my own advice. I don't put the period behind St. George. I think street can go without a period, but St. George needs that. So I'll put the address there. If you, of course, if you currently reside together, maybe you're not divorced and it's against a spouse, then yeah, you can ask for them to have to vacate and stay away. Order John Doe away from the child's school. Yes, and again, it depends on circumstances. I'm just going to put yes basically to everything here, but it all depends on the circumstances. So John Doe should stay away from the school of the following children. Johnny Doe, full address. We live right next door to the school across the street, so 124 Main. And George, Utah. Okay. Does John Doe attend the same school as any of the children? No. Order John Doe away from a child's place of worship? Yes. Stay away from Johnny Doe's place of worship. We don't go to the same church. Now, if we go to the same church, then that's something that the court has to consider, and there's some constitutional things there about excluding somebody by protective order from the place of worship. Same with, if they attend the same school, that sort of thing. So, hey, the church is right next to the school. Street. I'm not going to fill out all the St. George, but you're going to want to do that. Does John Doe attend the same place? Oh yeah, okay, so here's the question. So if yes, he does, he's in the same LDS ward, or we both go to the Seventh-day Adventist church or the synagogue, whatever it is, same place of worship, then there can be restrictions, not contacting, not sitting on the same pew, not whatever it might be. But if different wards, different synagogue, different religions, different whatever, then just put no. That's easier. But put whatever applies. Order John Doe to stay away from the child's place of work. No, because John Doe is 5 or 6 years old. He doesn't have it. Or Johnny is 5 or 6. Order John Doe away from a place your child goes often. Yes, he goes to the ice skating pond. That's funny. Johnny has wrestling at wherever. Wrestling practice at, for example, I know there's a wrestling group that goes at Westside Baptist Church. I don't even know the name of that. What's that, 2000 West or something like that? Put the address, look it up, that sort of thing, wherever it is. Is there any other place Johnny Doe goes to often, which John Doe should stay away from? We're going to say no. If you put yes, then it'll ask what it is and the address where he goes. And you can put that. Don't go overboard. Don't put the entire community. But places that Johnny really does frequent. Okay, I'm going to put no. Has he used a weapon in the past? And it's not asking, I don't like this question. It's not asking has he used a weapon to perpetrate abuse, just has he used a weapon? I mean, yes, because he shoots on weekends. I mean, if he really has never used a weapon, then put no. A lot of people have, but just because, I mean, again, talk with an attorney about it. If it's not really applicable and there's not a real fear that like they're going to come use the firearm to or other weapon to cause abuse, then just put no. Like, don't go overboard in general. Again, talk to an attorney specifically for your situation. But you can, if you put yes, type of weapon, and you can type that in. Okay, I'm going to put no. Do you need the court to award Jane Doe any personal property? So that's if you're living in the same house still, usually. Yes, list the personal property. 2009 Jeep. I don't know. Sometimes people will put, if the child has something important that goes back and forth and it was left at the other parent's house, then you put that, whatever it might be. Again, generally don't go overboard, but talk with the lawyer or victim's advocate that fills these out. I'm just going to put no, we don't need any personal property. Because under this scenario, we've been divorced for 6 months. Order that law enforcement officers supervise the removal of essential personal belongings by John Doe from the children's residence. That's if you're in the same residence. Then you do that. If you're already in different residences and there's nothing left, and under this situation there's not, you're going to put no. Appoint an attorney called a guardian ad litem to represent the children. Yes, and that's, I mean, in my experience, that just happens automatically, whether you put yes or no. In a child protective order case, a public guardian ad litem is being appointed to represent the children. Award appropriate custody of the children. Yes, I want sole legal and sole physical custody, so long as the temporary order is in effect. I mean, I'm asking for temporary. I'm asking for no context, so I need to ask for temporary that. And you could put, I want to enter my own custody provision. So it might be whatever it might be. I'm not going to get into those details right now. But I'm going to go ahead and put sole legal and physical. Well, it's in effect. You need law enforcement to assist you in retrieving one or more children from John Doe. So if I would err on the side of putting yes, help me get Johnny. That's even if Johnny's in my care, but if I take him to school while I'm filling this out and then dad comes and picks him up, or the respondent, then you'll want to have this. You want to have the law enforcement assistance. Order a parent time arrangement. You can put no, you can put yes, and you could put supervised through Grandma Doe. I trust his mom. I just don't trust him right now. But I trust her to provide adequate supervision. You know, something like that. If that's, you could put whatever parent time arrangement you want. Again, talk with an attorney about that. The parent time should be supervised. Yes. I guess I'm doubling up right there. Grandma Doe. You can put no if you don't think it needs to be. But again, why are you filing a protective order if you think the child is safe there without supervision? But still, it's up to you. Stop restrain John Doe from using drugs or alcohol. I mean, if that was part of the issue, then put yes. If that's not an issue, then put no. Doesn't matter which one you put. Stop restrain John Doe from removing the children from the state of Utah. Most people will put yes. Because again, I mean, we're asking for no contact or supervised parent time or whatever. I guess that's not really consistent with, no contact, and then I'm saying supervised parent time. That's not really consistent. You do want it to be consistent. But I think it's still fine to do it that way, even if you're asking for no contact otherwise. And the judge will review this and decide which ones am I going to grant, which ones am I going to deny. Okay, this one, general suggestion, talk with an attorney. If you already have a child support order in place, probably put no. Put yes. You're like, I want $5,000, but the order is he pays me $750. That hurts your credibility. So be careful. Talk with an attorney about this. I'm just going to put no because we just got divorced. I've got custody, primary custody, and we already have child support. Order the ORS collect the child support. I'm just going to put no. Again, that's already in place. Order to pay 1/2 the daycare expenses. Again, you could put yes on any of these things. Talk with an attorney about your specific circumstances. But hey, this is already taken care of in the decree of divorce, and so I'm going to put no, it's already part of the order. To pay all the children's medical expenses suffered as a result. Yeah, I mean, if there was medical expenses, then go ahead and put that. If you had to take them to the doctor because of the situation. Excuse me. What's the total amount? I don't know. It's $250 office visit, whatever it might be. Again, whatever it actually is. And if you're not sure, I don't know if it allows you to put question marks. It probably does. Nope, it doesn't. Is there other relief the court should order? So if you put no, doesn't do anything. If you put yes, then it asks in here. And so then if there's something specific, tailored, specifically to that situation, then it can be put there. Any other relief the court should order for the safety and welfare of the children. So again, it depends on the circumstances, and talk with your attorney. All right, save and continue. Let's see, we saved and continued. Now we go back. If you do click previous, you see it's all filled out. Just click save and continue again. So if he lives in Utah, law enforcement will serve the papers for you. If he lives outside, you must arrange to serve the temporary child protective order on John Doe. For information on service, you can click here, and we'll take you to another spot. So yeah, if he lives here in Utah, which in our circumstance he does, but if he doesn't, if he lives down in Nevada, if he lives in California, if he lives somewhere else, you're filing it against him, then you'll have to coordinate typically with a sheriff's department down wherever John Doe lives. Does John Doe use a nickname? I'm just going to say no. Best time to reach him at home, evenings. He lives at 123 Main in Washington. 4780. Oh, whoops. Come on now. Washington City, Utah, 4780. Daytime phone number 56. And, or you just put mobile phone. It's usually what most people have these days. Best time to reach him by phone. Anytime. Does he work? Yes. Best time to find him at work. Daytime hours. Employer. He works for Job Inc. And their phone number is that, and they're located in Hurricane. So, 123 Main Street, Hurricane. I don't even know the. Sorry, Hurricane. I don't know your zip code by heart. So 84770 is what I'm going to put, just so that it can let me go through. And then you describe. This is to help them to do that. And yeah, you can write unknown if you don't know. But yeah, he's like 190. He's 6 feet. and race, he's white. Hair color, he's brown. Eye color, he's brown. Distinguishing features, he's got a tattoo, if I can spell that right, tattoo of Virgin Mary on his arm. Or he's got a big scar on his face, or whatever it might be. Not necessary to put the social security number, you can. Not necessary. Birth date, I think it's best if you do. So he shares my birthday. What do we put? 12/1/1988. What do we put? Again, if you know it, put it. Most people aren't going to know the driver's license number, vehicle license plate number. He drives a Ford F-250. It's like a 2015, and it's blue. Is he on probation? No. Each parent or guardian of the child is not the petitioner must be served with protective order papers. Do the children have a parent or guardian different from Jane Doe or John Doe? Again, that applies if I'm filing it against a step parent, if I'm filing that against a third party, you know, a teenage kid or a school teacher or whoever might have abused the child, then you're going to put yes, because then you need to put the respondent, you know, the other parent, I should say, not the respondent, so they get served as well. So I'm going to put no in this circumstance. Okay, so this just outlines the steps. You will need to file the verified petition for temporary child protective order with the juvenile court. The judge will read your petition the day that you file it, decide whether or not to grant you a temporary child protective order. Temporary child protective order is good for 20 days. Typically, well, step 2, obtain, you can read through those steps on your own. But so it kind of walks through what those steps are. You have to have a hearing in order to get the final child protective order. The final one, if it's against a parent, step parent, etc., 150 days, unless it's for certain circumstances that if you can prove, and it's up to the judge, but typically 150 days. A protective order against a non-parent, step parent, guardian, custodian can go until the child's 18. So it just has some information there about violations and things. So okay, that's just information. Then you can go ahead and sign it. It's asking me to sign it. That's fine. I'm going to go ahead and sign it. Oh, I'm Jane Doe. City where I'm at right now, St. George, Utah. Save and continue. Interview complete. Display your documents. So I can click view documents, review documents. Okay, so this is going to put it out as a PDF, or at least in a format that can be downloaded as a PDF. And so usually what I'll do is I'll save it, I'll review it, or I guess if my client's filling this out, I'll have them usually, well, often I'll ask for the login information, and I'll go in myself and review what they've put in there. But I like to go and look, like, okay, because then you can see, okay, this is what's populated based on kind of that last stuff about, okay, I guess the first stuff about where I live and about information about the party being served, and you see like race, white, male, 6 feet, 190, brown hair, brown eyes, tattoo of Virgin Mary, that sort of thing. So it populates these things. This person used weapons in a threatening manner or been violent in the past. I don't know why that didn't populate based on the questions. But this is the same form in the service assistance form in the adult protective order. And I usually do see that is filled out, I guess, because there's a specific question related to that. So then here's the petition. So this is what you're asking for. And yes, you made a referral of abuse, because remember, you have to do that first. So it's got the child's information, lives with Jane Doe, and then weekends with John Doe. So you see the bold places usually is the part that's filled in from that questionnaire. So you can see that, yada, yada. Relationships, that sort of thing. I'm going to come down here and see, okay, so describe in detail what happened. So it's on or about February 9th in Washington City, Utah. The following events occurred. That petitioner believes indicates the child is being abused or in imminent danger of being abused. Abuse is, again, there's the definition: physical, sexual abuse, sexual offense, human trafficking. Describe what happened. So this isn't from, this is part of the form. And then right here, that's the description. You want to make sure that it makes sense. Because sometimes, it's not so much in the Child Protective Order, the Adult Protective Order one, some of the questions, the way they ask them, does not precisely correspond or answer as precise as I would like what the actual questionnaire is, or what the actual documents will show. And so again, so this is why, because it's going to say check 1, no case of any type or the following cases. So if you're putting there's no other case, then you're telling the judge and you're putting your signature on it that there is no other case, divorce, custody, other protective orders, etc., involving them. So you want to be honest, you want to disclose these things, and that there was orders. They're going to find it anyway, and it's going to be called out on cross-examination. There's been yes, petitioner has filed, or no, petitioner has not filed. I guess no, yes. And then here is these X's are, if you didn't select yes to these things, then it will just be blank, that you're not asking for those things in the form. Just like we didn't see it's blank on child's work. We're not asking for anything about that. These places which the child goes to, he goes to wrestling practice at Westside Baptist Church. Okay, remember the firearm one, if we were asking about that. Ward possession of the following personal property, if we were doing that, it'll have that information there. To accompany petition of the children to the residence to ensure the children are safely restored to possessions of the listed items. Yeah, again, if there's something significant to the children that you've included in there, then those things will be marked and that sort of thing. But anyway, so you're just going to want to look through, make sure that it's all accurate, make sure that it's correct. And this is where, again, it can look kind of ridiculous sometimes. Order the respondent to pay child support in the amount of $5,000. Well, there's already an order. Now, if there's not an order, go ahead and fill that out. If this is, pre-divorce and stuff, then go ahead and fill that out and ask for each of those things and select yes. But run the child support number appropriately so it's not looking like you're asking for some crazy amount. Usually they're not ordering on a temporary protective order. They're not going to order child support. But it doesn't hurt to ask if there's no child support order in place. Then any other relief, and it will have that information there. Okay, then it's got my signature, that sort of thing. Okay, this looks good. So then the next thing in here is the ex parte child protective order. And you'll see it has X's on it, any of the things that you requested. Okay, if you didn't request it, it's not going to have an X there. And it has that little space there because theoretically it's done primarily electronic now and not even on the same form. But it used to be. How these looked is it'd be a printout, and the judge would initial the ones that they're actually ordering. And now it's kind of electronically generated, and it looks different from this. But anyway, you want to look through and see, okay, yeah, actually I forgot to put the child's work. I forgot that he works at Iceberg or something, and I don't want him to go there during the temporary protective order. So that sort of thing. And this has the language that would be in the order. Then the judge, and the other thing about the way that they electronically generate them, at least down here in the 5th District, specifically in Washington County with our judges, is they don't have to just take, this language. They can modify that, and they do, based on what they see, based on what's in the petition, and how severe, and different considerations and things. So talk with an attorney that's familiar with the judges and that's familiar with the process to help you in making sure to address truthfully and accurately the things. This is something later we don't need to talk about, transferring to district court. But anyway, so that's filling it out, and then it gives you all these papers. It used to be you had to then print these, take them in. They have a way to file by email right there. And so you'll save this, you'll email it to that, you'll follow the instructions that they have there. But that's what you do for filling it out. This took too long, 40 minutes, but there you have it. Good luck.